Okay, we ready? Good afternoon, Mayor Joe McComb, City of Corpus Christi. Thank you for joining us today. We'll continue to bring you information as updated and current as possible on our continued efforts to reduce the COVID virus problem. And we appreciate your efforts in helping us do that. Today, City Manager Peter Zanoni will be here with some statistics, and Ned Rodriguez with our Health Department, Health District, will be here to give you some other additional information. But just a couple of reminders. We'll try to keep this brief today. As I go around town, I'm impressed with the number of businesses that have the face mask signs that they're supposed to have, and I've gone in several stores, and the majority of those stores are enforcing the face mask, and the customers in there, I've not seen a customer without one, and many of them that I've gone into. We have other people out that are kind of doing some just voluntary surveys. They're getting back to me because we have our thank you tour going on to try to identify those that are in compliance with the face mask requirements and those that aren't. I'm pleased to say we've gotten lots of positive response from those that are in compliance, but disappointed to hear that several are not in the compliance. And so before we get a little more aggressive in that, we hope that you will begin to enforce the face mask requirements. And that basically, from the governor's orders on down, is that face masks are to be worn at any public facility that you go to. That doesn't mean it's owned by the public. That means if it's open to the public and it's a private business and you go in there, you need to be wearing your face mask as part of the rules and regulations. And if you're in your car, that's fine. You don't have to wear them, or in your house. But if you're going into a place that serves the public, you do need to have those face masks on, and particularly in restaurants, between the number of people in the restaurants to the wearing of the face mask. I'm seeming to get more of an uptick of restaurants that are not in compliance in both the number of people being served and the face mask requirements. So we really want to encourage you, because we're not interested in fining anybody or warning anybody. We really want everybody to be compliant. So give that some additional thought if this message is pertinent to you. But those that are in compliance, we want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and I think it's paying dividends. But we do need those that are fudging a little to be a little more aggressive in their enforcement, both in their employees and their patrons, if they're coming into you to get a service or buy a product. So with that in mind, we'll get the reports in terms of the numbers and anything else that the city manager feels like we need to share with us, and then Annette Rodriguez will bring us her report. The county judge will not be with us today, but you'll get the reports, and then following their two presentations, we'll come back and see if there's any questions that the media has. So, Mr. Zanoni.
Continuaremos dando la información de COVID. El gerente de la ciudad y la directora del Departamento de Salud les darán los informes de hoy. Me alegra decir que hay muchas personas obedeciendo las reglas del uso del cubrebocas en todos los lugares que sirven al público. Muchas gracias por escuchar nuestras recomendaciones.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Peter Zanoni, Corpus Christi City Manager. And I'm going to go over the case, a number of new cases, change in hospitalization, and number of deaths for today. So our first graph here, you'll see on the screen, shows the number of cases over time, but the one to focus on is today. So for Wednesday, the 5th of August, we have an additional 259 new positives confirmed for Nueces County. And it's not the best result for today. We were hoping for lower numbers. When you compare it to a week ago Wednesday, when we look at 729 on the graph over here, where we had 338 confirmed for that day, it is less than a week ago, so about 79 less day to day. But it is 10 more than yesterday, and yesterday was 11 more than Monday. So this week we've seen the numbers in the 200s, but they're gradually going up. Well, of course, today's Wednesday, so we'll see what happens on Thursday and Friday. The number for today, the 259, is about 16 higher than our 7-day, one-day average, our 7-day trend number, which is 243. So by all accounts, it's a higher number with the exception of a week ago. So it's a bigger number than yesterday, a bigger number than Monday, and it's also higher than our 7-day daily average, which is 243. On the number of recoveries, though, this is looking a little bit better. And so when we had our high peak of a lot of persons with COVID, as time goes on, more of them recover. And if you can see this pie chart, if you're watching, if you're listening, I'll describe it. But we have a pretty big jump in the red-orange slice. And so we're at a 44% recovery rate. So of all our cases that we have, 5,700 approximately are recovered, and then 7,400 approximately are still active cases. 56% is active, and then 44% recovered. And then this chart shows us the number of deaths for Nueces County, so 217 to date. And we had 5 additional today, and I'll show you that graph in a moment. The number of hospitalizations is making a little bit of improvement also. It's still a high number. There's 326 in the hospital recovering with COVID-19. That's 6 fewer than yesterday. So yesterday there was 332, and today 6 fewer. It leaves us with 326 in the hospital. And you can see, if you can see the graph, the trend line slowly lowering. From 723, which is the first date on this graph, we were as high as 421, and actually the next day, 724, was 430 in the hospital. So we're about 100 fewer in the hospital from about 2 weeks ago or so, or a little over a week and a half or so ago. Okay, so of the 326 in the hospital, 120 or 132 of those are in intensive care, meaning their status is worse than the general person recovering. They need more care, so they're in ICU. That number is 1 more person than yesterday. So yesterday we had 131 in ICU. Today we have 132 in ICU. And then this is that death chart I was talking to you about. So we had 212 reported deaths yesterday. Today we're reporting 5 additional. That leaves us with a total of 217 total confirmed deaths for Nueces County since the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Okay, and then the final graph here shows a trend line and a daily count of COVID cases, and you can see the big peak that we had beginning in late June. And the 7-day average, as I mentioned earlier, is 243. You can see at the end over here on the far right, the red trend line isn't quite coming down as fast as we want it to. And this was confirmed by Dr. Bird. He predicted that based on modeling and other statistics that the descend from the peak that we reached around the 15th of July, 16th or so of July, it's going to be a slow coming down. So the line almost looks like it's kind of flatlining a little bit. That's probably in part because of today's number that's even a little bit bigger than yesterday's. So that's the 7-day trend line and the daily averages. Okay, so that's a complete wrap on the statistics. Today's Wednesday. We'll be doing, and Annette will probably talk about this, drive-through testing Thursday and Friday as well, Annette, both days. our positivity rate's about 30%. So if we test 100 people, which will at least do that, you can, that's 30 persons positive plus all the other entities that are testing. So let's hope for better and lower numbers tomorrow. And we're going to get my portion translated into Spanish, and then Annette Rodriguez will come up with some additional information.
En las últimas 24 horas se han reportado 259 casos confirmados por el coronavirus. 5.746 pacientes se han recuperado por completo, 326 continúan en el hospital, 132 están en la unidad de cuidados intensivos. Hoy se reportan 5 fallecimientos. A la fecha, los fallecimientos totalizan 217 personas.
Good afternoon, Annette Rodriguez, Public Health Director. So the good news is that the Health District did not have a drive-through today, nor will we have one tomorrow. But as Mr. City Manager Zanoni mentioned, we will have one on Friday. The reason is because we have a low number of people currently that are calling for drive-through, which is wonderful. But we also know that what used to be called the military testing team is now the state testing team, that they're currently here. They were here last week at the Richard Borchard Fairgrounds all week, and they're currently at American Bank Center from 9 to 1. And so we have people that are actually going over there and they're swabbing themselves, and they're doing it through their cheeks, through both sides of their cheeks. So they're doing their own swabbing. So we believe that's why our numbers are low. But on Friday, we'll have our next drive-through. So if you need testing, you're welcome to call the 826-7200 to make the appointment and to come through the next drive-through at the Health Department. Unfortunately, we continue to see many deaths reported daily. Today, we had 5 additional deaths, and one of them was a member of the Flower Bluff Independent School District. Our condolences go out to the families, friends, the entire Flower Bluff school community, as well as our neighboring communities that are also experiencing increases in the number of deaths due to COVID-19. COVID-19 has changed the way we work, the way we attend social gatherings and social events, attend places of worship, and of course, the way we attend schools and universities. In a few weeks, for most schools, the 2020-2021 school year begins. Some schools may go back virtually, others may have in-class instruction, and some have a hybrid of both. All parents need to be aware and up to date on the options that are available for their child, their students' reopening plan. Parents should educate their children on COVID-19 and ensure that they are aware of the basic strategies such as good hand washing, wearing a mask, social distancing, and following all classroom protocols when they do return to school. Children should also be aware of symptoms of COVID-19 so that they may be able to identify it in themselves. Students returning to school need to be up to date on their vaccination. In preparation for the reopening of schools, the Health District will have a series of back-to-school immunization drive-thrus at the Health Department that's located at 1702 Horn Road. This is going to be very similar to the COVID-19 drive-through testing, where people actually drive their car right through. Instead of swabbing, we'll vaccinate the student. The dates of these back-to-school immunization drive-through events are scheduled for August 9th, August 10th, August 14th, and August 15th, from 7:30 in the morning to 11 in the morning. Parents or guardians will need to call to make an appointment ahead of time and register their student. The number is 826-7238, and this is also on our website at www.cctexas.com/coronavirus. Also, there are other immunization drive-throughs scheduled. August 6th, tomorrow, at Calallen High School from 2 to 4 p.m. August 8th at Ray High School from 10 to 2 p.m. August 10th at Flower Bluff from 2 to 4 p.m. At Port A from 2 to 4 p.m., as well as August 18th at West Doso from 2 to 4 p.m. So please, this is very important that your students all get vaccinated. It should be before school starts, even if it's virtually, but make sure that these children, students are vaccinated appropriately as required by the Texas Education Agency. Thank you.
El próximo puesto móvil de tomas de pruebas del Distrito de Salud será el próximo viernes. Por favor, llame al 361-826-7200 para programar una cita. Seguimos viendo muchos fallecimientos reportados diariamente. Hoy tuvimos 5 muertes y una de ellas era miembro del Distrito Escolar de Flower Bluff. Nuestro más sentido pésame a su familia, amigos y a toda la comunidad escolar de Flower Bluff. Y para otras comunidades que se han visto afectadas por el COVID-19. El COVID-19 ha cambiado la forma en que trabajamos, asistimos a reuniones sociales y eventos sociales, asistimos a lugares de culto y, por supuesto, la forma que asistimos a las escuelas. En pocas semanas, para la mayoría de las escuelas, comienza el año escolar 2020-2021. Todos los padres deben conocer y actualizar las opciones disponibles para el plan de reapertura escolar de sus hijos. Los estudiantes que regresen a la escuela deberán ser vacunados y actualizados con sus vacunas. En preparación para la reapertura de las escuelas, el Distrito de Salud tendrá una serie de campañas de vacunación de regreso a la escuela a través del Departamento de Salud. Las fechas de estas clínicas de campaña serán 9, 10, 14 y 15 de agosto de 7:30 a 11 de la mañana. Los padres pueden llamar a hacer una cita al 361-826-7238. Además, hay otras inmunizaciones móviles programadas para 6 de agosto en Callahan High School a partir de las 2 de la tarde hasta las 4. El 8 de agosto en Ray High School de 10 de la mañana a 2 de la tarde. 10 de agosto en la escuela secundaria de Flower Bluff de 2 de la tarde a 4 de la tarde. El 17 de agosto en Port Aransas High School de 2 a 4 de la tarde. Y el 18 de agosto en West Oso High School a partir de las 2 de la tarde hasta las 4 de la tarde.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our briefing today. This may be the briefest briefing we've had so far. But if you got any questions from the press?
Yes, with this week having record numbers in deaths in single days, at what point will the city start enforcing their occupancy rules through fining?
Well, we'll talk with the police chief. Our goal is not to fine. Our goal is to get compliance. And, we initiated that visiting the businesses within the community, and the first reports I've had several that have been very positive in terms of their compliance, both in occupancy as well as masks. I've had a couple that have been reported that are not in compliance with the occupancy, particularly restaurants and bars. So we'll continue to make those visits, and we'll get with the police and the city manager and see when we might be able to start, or when they think it would be appropriate to at least initiate some enforcement. Obviously, the first level is, rather than just a nice visit, is to give them a warning. Again, we're not interested in fines, we're interested in compliance. And I think when they see that we've given them every chance to be in compliance on a voluntary, so to speak, basis, even though it's required, then we are going to step it up. But to give you a definite answer, I can't give you that now, but we will be visiting with the city manager and the police chief and the health inspectors to see when we might start that next, actually issuing warnings. And then if we don't get compliance, then I think at some point we'll have to start issuing fines, because we're serious about what we're doing. But we're not interested in issuing fines. We're interested in getting compliance. And that's a pretty easy thing. Doesn't cost you any money. And so we encourage people to get in compliance, because it's the way to win the war. And we're going to win it. And so they just need to be on the winning side. Any other questions? All right, if not, we'll be back tomorrow, I guess at 5, is that correct? Next week we start the 2 days, Tuesdays and Fridays, but we'll continue to have tomorrow be Thursday, and then Friday Texas A&M will be here, and that's at 5 o'clock, or is that 5 o'clock? And then next week will be the 2 days, Tuesdays and Fridays. So thank you, stay in compliance, wear your mask, keep fighting the good fight, we're going to win, It may take a little while, but the sooner the better. The more compliance we have, the quicker we'll get there. So thank you. We're counting on you.